Welcome to another edition of Living the B3 Way or Intentional Health. I'm in the process of changing the name. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. So, I really wanted to talk to you about having a bad mental day. What does that mean? Well, you wake up and you're just not there. You're not motivated. On a scale of 1 to 10, you might be a 5 or a 6. You say to yourself, why bother? Why am I getting out of bed? That's a dangerous place to be. But part of what I wanted to do is to give you some tools today to help you overcome this inner critic that can consume us and put us in a bad place. And how do you overcome those bad mental days? Well, let's get started by really the first step is to understand that you are not your thoughts and you're not your feelings. You're the witness to those thoughts or feelings. So when you hear those thoughts, when you feel those feelings, the important thing is to be a witness to them. What purpose do they serve? Ask yourself. They're there for a reason. And what's our inner critic there for? Our inner critic serves a purpose too. It's there to keep us stuck. Why? Well, it's keeping us safe. It's about survival. And there was a time when that inner critic created this belief system to protect you. Let me explain. So I'm going to give you a story that I experienced when I was younger. I was working in a hospital and I was in a burn unit, and there was a young boy who was screaming out for his mom. And I asked the nurse, so I was working there from a medical device perspective. I happened to be working in medical device. And I said, where is his mom? She said, so don't worry, his mom's never showing up. I said, why not? Well, she did this to him. What did she do? The kid had been playing with a stove then that she had been boiling water in, and she poured the boiling water all over him to teach him a lesson. My goodness, what a monster. But the kid, in order to survive, because the biggest issue was to get this kid to survive, the kid had to create an identity and a belief system that said, I am the monster. My mom isn't. I am such a bad kid that I deserve that. Mom, please forgive me. This is his mantra, what he's screaming out for mommy, right? Because I'm sorry, I won't do it ever again. That's an extreme example of what we can do. For what reason? For survival. Well, does it serve us anymore? Do we need to listen to that inner critic? It's really hard to put that inner critic aside and say, you know what? You don't serve me anymore. But the first step is awareness, just to be self-aware that that inner critic exists and that it is not you, that those thoughts and those feelings, you can be a witness to it. You are the witness. And if you can just imagine those thoughts and those feelings like a cloud floating by in the sky, just let it float by. Or let's say you're standing on a riverbank and logs are floating by in the river. As those logs float by, that's the thought. Just let it go. Because if you latch on to that thought, think about that child. He latched on to that thought. He's going to hold on to it. And then there are other logs and thoughts that are going to come by, and they're going to get log jammed. And he's not going to be able to deal with what's going on in the precious present. He's going to be focusing on the past and all that regret and the fear of the future of not having mom there. Instead, I want you to be grounded. I want you to be anchored in the precious present. And the way that we do that is when you have an attack of the inner critic, when you have these terrible days, I want you to just practice gratitude. Be a witness to the thought, be a witness to that feeling, all those feelings, and say, that's not who I am. I'm the witness. And then practice some gratitude. Gratitude keeps you grounded in the precious present. Who am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? Express that gratitude in any which way you can. And one of the best ways that you can do that is by joining my Facebook group, because we have a gratitude practice. It is something that I have every one of my clients do, is practice gratitude every day to post 3 things that you're grateful for and never to repeat them. They can be a little different, or you can learn from somebody else by whoever's posting and read theirs. But by posting you're validating that gratitude, and you're changing those neural pathways. You can do that. It's called neuroplasticity. And the idea is to get the neurons to fire differently, to find a way every time that inner critic comes up to awaken your inner coach who says, you know what? You don't serve me anymore, inner critic. I'm a witness to it. Thanks, but no thanks. What am I grateful for? And by doing that, you're actually creating an opening in the loop. Instead of repeating what you're doing over and over again, you're actually creating a new neural pathway. And that's the neural pathway to the life you've always dreamed of being able to live a life without being so critical of yourself, without having to constantly bow down to that inner critic. If you'd like to learn more, come join me in my Facebook group. Yes, a lot of you are in here. Start practicing gratitude. I'm looking forward to it. Go make it a great week. That's another edition of Intentional Health, Living the B3 Way.